Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 5.
We begin with breaking news. The members of One Fargo are now wrapping up a news conference at Island Park. The group released information surrounding issues with the current process of internal affairs reviews being conducted by the Fargo Police Department. That's where we find Valley News Team's Katie Opperly live from Island Park with more. Katie?
Andrea, this meeting, this press conference ended just minutes ago. They had discussed two different things. They started with discussing the fact that the Fargo Police Department on the 23rd had an incident that they believe they targeted a young man. They said that on the 23rd, they stopped a 19-year-old man on the street outside of his girlfriend's house where they used racial profiling that then led to the illegal search without a warrant of his bag. They claimed that this young man did nothing wrong and that the Fargo police claimed that this man was acting suspiciously. They want and are demanding the names of the officers involved in this incident. And then they also discussed one other thing. They brought forward text messages that they received through their open records request showing what they say is proof that the Fargo Police Department had interactions with Police Officer Osmundson the night of the riots and that they were aware of his activity and did not discourage it. We will bring you much more this evening on Valley News Live, but for now, reporting live in Fargo, Katie Opperly, Valley News Live.
All right, Katie, thank you. We'll have more on this story on Valley News Live at 6. The Trump administration has unveiled new fall semester rules for international students, requiring they take in-person classes to remain in the U.S. Students already in the U.S. under those programs who are planning to attend schools who only offer online classes in the fall will need to transfer to other schools providing in-person instruction or face potential deportation. Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter Bailey Hurley talked with local schools today on what this could mean for international students here in the metro.
After a bumpy spring semester, international students and programs around the U.S. have been on edge, waiting for federal guidance when it comes to the upcoming fall semesters.
There has been anxiety and concern by a lot of people just because of COVID-19 since the spring semester. How's this going to affect, my course of study and my presence here in the U.S.?
There's a lot of uncertainty. Everything's uncertain between pandemic and classes and immigration.
But as most schools in the metro are following the hybrid model with both in-person and online classes offered, international students studying in the Valley can breathe a sigh of relief.
We're fortunate that students should be able to be in courses that are in person here and still maintain their status for fall semester.
Kaufman and Gillette say while it's good news for local international students, there's still a lot of questions.
It's not giving us a specific number of face-to-face. It's saying that they need to have some face-to-face and the minimal number of online. So if there's an option for a course to be face-to-face, then the students would have to be in that face-to-face.
Both MSUM and NDSU say they haven't had students from other institutions apply to transfer yet, but say it's still early.
There's no way of knowing. As I told my students, I wish I had the magic ball that we could look and say this is what's going to happen, but we don't have that. So all we can go off of is what we know right now.
With only about a month left until the first day back in the classroom, both say they hope further guidances are released by the federal government sooner rather than later. Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.
ICE says international students will be allowed to take more than one class or 3 credit hours remotely as long as the institutions file certifications with the agency. A quiet day so far, but as we move toward the evening hours, that will not be the case. Let's find out what's happening this evening and overnight in our First Alert forecast. Hutch, welcome back.
Andrea, thanks so much. The heat is on and it continues here in the Valley. A lot of 80s out there. It's not quite as sticky and humid as it was over the holiday weekend, but still a warm one out there. Here's the radar, and we look way out to the west in Montana. We see active thunderstorm and even tornado warnings in the elevated terrain of central Montana as storms are exiting the Rocky Mountains on the eastern plains. For us, we have fair weather cumulus clouds and temperatures now in the 80s, and they stay there through most of the evening with light winds. It'll be a warm but quiet evening. And likewise, in Grand Forks, we'll have warm but quiet conditions. However, as we go through the overnight hours, or storms in Montana will be pushing our way. Now, the greatest risk, called an enhanced risk, where you see the orange colors on this map, is where the best chance will be of some of the severe weather. But most of our viewing areas in a slight risk. What does that mean? Well, the main threats will be dangerous high straight line winds over 70 miles per hour. And for our area, notice the increased chances of flooding, because some of our areas up north have received a massive amount of rain over the last 10 days. It's a first alert weather day, and coming up here in a few moments, I'll have the timing. These do not get started until well after bedtime. We'll let you know when they'll hit your neighborhood and talk about the threats that they impose here in a minute.
All right, thanks, Hutch. A drunk driver will now serve 12 years in prison after his passenger died in a wreck last year in West Fargo. 35-year-old Daniel Del Pozo was sentenced to 12 years in prison by a Cass County judge on Monday after he pleaded guilty to vehicular homicide and criminal mischief. Del Pozo was driving around 11:30 the evening of June 22nd, 2019, when he crashed into several vehicles. His passenger, 38-year-old Johnny Gray of West Fargo, was pronounced dead on the scene. The Fargo Police Department is alerting the public to a puppy scam hitting the metro area. Police say they've taken 2 reports where victims thought they were buying Pomeranian dogs through an online sale. In both incidents, police say the victims were contacted multiple times for additional payments, and shipping information ended up not being accurate. Police urge caution when buying anything online and suggest checking out the business through a web search. Also, look for reviews that may indicate the business is a scam before providing payment. Fargo police are reminding pet owners to keep their animals in a safe and cool space as temperatures rise this summer. The reminder comes after police responded to 44 calls last month of dogs left in cars. A community service officer did talk to the pet owners, reminding them of North Dakota law, which states you cannot leave an animal in a car without ensuring its safety. Everyone was let off with a verbal warning. Parents and children across the country are starting to hear from their schools about plans for the upcoming school year. While many are telling students to stay home and learn remotely, others are planning to open, but with restrictions. NBC's Susan McGinnis has the latest.
As the U.S. races toward a startling 3 million coronavirus cases, the nation's schools are rolling out plans for the fall, learning tough lessons on keeping students educated but safe.
This is a really crucial time for their social and emotional development.
With outbreaks linked to large gatherings, schools at all levels are wrestling with whether to keep students at home. Princeton, Georgetown, and Harvard universities announcing half or less of students will be allowed back on campus, trying to avoid what's happening right now at the University of Washington, where more than 120 students connected to a fraternity house have tested positive. And as cases soar in Florida, the Education Commissioner ordering in-person learning for all school districts. In Texas, San Antonio schools adding days to the calendar, just like other systems add snow days.
If we have outbreaks at schools where we can shut down a school for a number of days and still make up that time.
President Trump continuing to downplay the risk and insisting schools must open.
We're very much going to put pressure on governors and everybody else to open the schools, to get them open.
The administration warning international students, if your school doesn't hold in-person classes, you'll have to leave the country. That on the same day, Dr. Anthony Fauci warns we're still living through the first wave of coronavirus.
We are still knee-deep in the first wave of this.
While different schools will offer different plans, all students can expect school to look a lot different this year as educators learn how to deal with the pandemic.
The American Academy of Pediatrics has advocated children being back in school with significant safety measures in place. State health officials are confirming 52 new cases of COVID-19 across North Dakota. In their information, they added 4 deaths that were then added to the state total after a review. This brings the active case count in the state to 401. 24 patients are currently in the hospital and over 3,400 are listed as recovered. In Minnesota, the state health department is reporting 569 new cases with 3 more deaths linked to the virus. This brings the death toll in Minnesota to 1,477. 1,157 happened in a long-term care facility. The active case count in the state now sits at 3,279. The federal government has released a list of the businesses in the metro that received more than $150,000 in Paycheck Protection Program loans. This program came to life as a result of Congress passing a stimulus bill that was signed by President Trump to aid businesses during the coronavirus pandemic. For the full list, you can head over to our VNL News app. Days after baseball's return, COVID testing problems are casting doubt on the season. That's still ahead on Valley News Live at 5.
It is quiet now, but it's also a first alert weather day. In the overnight hours, these storms in Montana heading our way. They're 560 plus miles away. When will they arrive? What threats do they bring? We'll have the latest in your hour-by-hour forecast right after this.